Ladies and gentlemen, good day and welcome to the Q2 FY21 earnings conference call of RICOAUTO Limited, hosted by Essential Technologies Limited. As a reminder, all participant lines will be in the listen-only mode, and there will be an opportunity for you to ask questions after the presentation concludes. Should you need assistance during the conference call, please signal an operator by pressing star, then zero on a touch-tone phone. Please note that this conference is being recorded. I now hand the conference over to Mr. Saurabh Bhavi from Essential Technologies Limited. Thank you, and over to you, sir.
Thank you, and good evening, everyone, and welcome to RICOAUTO Limited's Q2 FY21 results conference call. From the management, we have Mr. Arvind Kapoor, Chairman, CEO, and MD, Mr. O.P. Agarwal, Chief Advisor, Mr. Surendra.
Sorry, we lost you. Hello. Hello.
Mr. Saurabh, please go ahead. Your line is unmuted.
Earnings conference call. From the management, we have Mr. Arvind Kapoor, Chairman, CEO, and MD, Mr. O.P. Agarwal, Chief Advisor, Mr. Surendra Singh, President and CEO, Mr. Rakesh Sharma, CFO, Mr. Sandeep Rajpal, Vice President, Marketing, and Mr. B.M. Jam, Company Secretary. Now may I request Mr. Arvind Kapoor to take us through his opening remarks, subsequent to which we can open up the floor for the Q&A session. Thank you, and over to you, sir.
Good evening. My name is Arvind Kapoor, and I have my colleagues all with me in the conference office. Like to start by saying that this quarter has been good in many ways, and has also been bad for the company in some ways. And I would cover up both the good as well as the what has pulled us back a little this quarter. The market, fortunately, has been good for us, the two-wheeler market as well as the four-wheeler market, the car market. And we have been able to get larger share of business from all our customers in the two-wheeler industry as well as the car industry. Our growth with the companies has been higher than whatever the companies have grown by. And if they've grown by 10%, we've grown by 15% with them. So if you look at the sale to Hero Motors and Hero MotoCorp and to Maruti, it's much higher than what we had budgeted and what we had anticipated, and which really surprised us, primarily because the pull in the market has been pretty high. Some concerns. One is, of course, in the market. We are all hoping that this season, this festive season, the sales are good. Car sales are still good, and the two-wheeler sales, there's a lot of stocking that's happening in the market, and that is normally done around the Diwali season, and that is the time when they have the highest sales. And but the retail registrations have not been to the extent to which the wholesale market has to the scale of the production that have actually happened. But we are hoping that going by the past experiences, all the stocks would be finished by before the end of the festive season. We are all hoping for that, and adding to all this is primarily the requirement of all the customers, social distancing, and because the COVID cases are going up, there is more demand for both the new vehicles as well as the second-hand vehicles, and we are dealing mainly with the new vehicles. And we see that pull from the customers, only because people want individual transportation. On the performance side, if you look at our performance, and we had mentioned in the last meeting that our target is that we should be able to achieve 12.5% plus EBITDA. Factually, we achieved an EBITDA of about close to 12%, but there were some expenses which we had promised you last time that they will not be there, and there were some unforeseen circumstances which happened here. One was the air freights, the premium freights, which we had said that we will be getting out of the sea freights, of the air freight, and also cost of poor quality. Now, the situation that happened immediately after the opening of the plant, there was a lot of migratory labor who had gone back to the villages, and so we had to hire a lot of new people, as a result of which there was poor quality which was produced here and got shipped to our customers. And subsequently we had to do the re-inspection of this in Germany, and also get some components repaired there. So that was a miss that happened in this particular quarter. And besides that, the shipments, because of the efficiency of the new operators and absenteeism that was taking place, and also because of the social distancing which was required in case there was any COVID case detected in the plant, there was a lot of fluctuation in the labor. We have got over it, and we are now producing very good parts, and the shipments are all going on time. But in the meantime, the air freights had taken place, and air freights, there were a couple of reasons. One was, of course, lower production at our end. Number two was missing out shipments, basically the ships bypassing the Mundra port and or the port of destination. The ships were not docking there because of the closure of those ports, and so the delay. So the goods were staying on the sea for a longer period, and now we still have a shortage of containers, which happens. There's a pull on the containers, and some delays do happen because of that. But we are gradually getting over it, and we are hoping that by the end of this month, in November, we should have both sea and air freights taking place, but the air freights will subsequently come down. So this is the negative that has happened in this quarter. And if you take that in consideration, then of course our EBITDA actually dropped. But we are confident, and we had to deliver the goods. And unfortunately, in those COVID times, even by air, shipment was also very difficult. All the airlines had stopped. There were very, very few freighters which are in operation. And so we had to divert goods from various destinations so that the customer would get it on time. And because we could not afford to stop the lines of our customer. That is the because source, and that is the service that we provide to the customer. And so all the problems that happened were now have been taken care of, but those are problems actually created by us, and we have got over it. And we are hopeful that by November end, beginning or mid-December, there will be no more air freights that will take place, no premium freights, and no cost of poor quality or inspection to take place at both at customer end, and also the additional gates that we provided in our plants. And this happened primarily in one plant, that is the Bawal plant, which is a very important facility for us. We have all the technologies, the best technologies of the world in that particular plant. And but all the other plants performed well, except this Bawal plant, which actually pulled us down. And but all the other plants, they've been delivering as per the requirements of the customer, and as per the total, and they're meeting the sudden spikes that are taking place in demand, and also meeting the demand of the customers when the other plants failed. When I say other plants, our competition failed to supply to the OEM. Our people actually pitched in to increase the production and start and supply to the customers. So we have been successful in the other plants, except the Bawal plant where we were let down, where fortunately we have the best technologies there, but unfortunately we faltered there. But we made a lot of changes and corrections there, and hopefully by mid-December onwards, that plant also should do well. In fact, almost all the good profitable components are made in Bawal, and but unfortunately, because of the air shipments and cost of poor quality, our profits came down there, and the components that we air freighted last year, those are all in sea freight now. and it is the newer component which were developed which got into this situation. And since we have control of it now, we are hopeful that we'll be out of it. The domestic market seems to be good. We hope we are only worried about the retail figures, and the registrations in the market should continue to be good. And because we started looking at the retail of the vehicles that happens in the market, and to be sure that there's not overstocking and suddenly the market collapses. And we're hoping that after this festive season, the production should carry on at the same scale. And fortunately, the commercial vehicles also looking healthier than before. The demand for the engines, the Cummins engines, etc., their demand has increased because of all the back of the commercial vehicles, the heavier commercial vehicles. The smaller commercial vehicles, in any case, were doing okay. And so the tractor industry is still doing well. And this is all mainly based on the rural and semi-urban demand. Even the cars are being sold mainly in the urban, semi-urban and rural areas. And our month of October has been exceptionally good. We clocked the highest sales ever. We've never touched a figure of 170 crores in 1 month, and that's one figure we did. And whatever we had budgeted this year, our sales should be higher than the budget that we had taken. And the sale, we are on track to cross the sales of our of last year, and despite the first 3 months being a total washout. I think that's from my side, and I'm open to the questions and answers.
Thank you very much. We will now begin the question and answer session. Anyone who wishes to ask a question may press star and 1 on the touchtone telephone. If you wish to remove yourself from the question queue, you may press star and 2. Participants are requested to use handsets while asking a question. Ladies and gentlemen, we will wait for a moment while the question queue assembles. The first question is from the line of Vaibhav Sangvi, an individual investor. Please go ahead.
Hello, sir. Can you give us the figure of the total cost you have incurred on the airfare as well as the because of the poor quality?
Just one. This quarter we touched a figure of 20 crores. 15 crores was air freight, and 5 crores was the COPQ. And what we've done is we factored the total cost we incurred this quarter, but we are talking with the customer because of COVID times that there should be because in Europe also many plants actually shut down. Some of the suppliers could not supply mainly because of COVID. And so we have been telling them that we have been meeting that demand, and even also the increased demand despite the fact of all the constraints that we were in, and we should be compensated as far as the air freight. And we have got a commitment to some extent, but we are still talking to them to give us more. But in the books, we provide for the total amount for this quarter.
And how much do you expect to be done in this quarter? Q3, roughly?
Just a minute. We should be in the region of about, now the volumes have also gone up this quarter, and it should be in the region of about 12 to 13 crores total.
Including both quality aspect as well as the air freight.
Yeah, total. And we are factoring the total amount, but what we get back from the customer, of course, it would be reduced from here.
Okay, sir. In last 2 to 3 quarters also, we have been facing air freight issues, and in the past con calls, you have guided us that you are actually negotiating with them. So this is not part of the contract, because if this happens often, like how do you deal with this situation? Because this can hamper us.
No, can I be to you? See, earlier it was the PSA components, and those are mainly the electrical parts. Those are made of special metal. And since we were the only ones making it and the first ones to introduce those parts, we had some major issues on those in ramping up our capacities. We have got over those. Those are not in air freights anymore. And those are not in, even on the COPQ or even on poor quality. We are out of those. These are the other parts, and COVID actually got us also trapped into this. Otherwise, we would not have been in this situation. And we are in a much happier situation today. And October, there was we did a lot of air freights, but November is coming down drastically now.
And what was the reason behind the lower production? Because I believe in the last con call you have suggested that all the plants are now performing completely fully, and there is no impact on because of the COVID.
The plants were fortunately the demand was our capacities were absolutely filled up, and the demand was fully. The customers wanted the material more than whatever they had ordered earlier. The demand is actually more. We are producing more than whatever we were rated to produce. And the change of labor, of the new labor that we had kept and training them and getting them on board, and then frequent recycling of the labor, like people would go and come back again. The new labor would not stick there. So all that compounded into this into the shortfall, as well as also impacted the quality to an extent. And so we have got out of it. And see, the unfortunate part in export is that whatever is, if there is even one problem that happens in one part in any consignment, all the consignments which are on the sea or stocked up at our warehouse, all have got to be inspected so that the defect does not appear again. So it is not that all the parts are defective. It is only some parts are defective, but the inspection for all had to be done so that the customer does not get defective part. That's the understanding with the customer. Now, what we have got refunds from the customer primarily because of COVID, and they also understand it because in Europe many of the suppliers are shut or have not been able to deliver to the customers, but we have been delivering at a very, very expensive cost. So the customer has compensated us, but they compensated only, we got the message only day before yesterday, and to some extent, but we are still negotiating with them to get more.
So how much compensation do you expect? And secondly, has there been any...
We think that about 30 to 40% we should be able to manage to get from the... Our target is at least 50%.
And has there been any, loss of customer or any kind of impact because of this from the order book perspective?
No, there's no loss of customer, and in fact, we have picked up some more orders from our customers, despite like PSA and others, the issues we had last year. But they saw a commitment, they saw the level of technology that we possess, and our response time to or sending people there, getting things sorted out, and getting things sorted out here in India. Our reaction is very, very fast, and because of that, we have been able to get more orders from our current customers. In fact, most of the orders are new orders that we got for this year. Now this year, from April onwards, April 20 onwards, to date, we are today at the annualized peak would be around 353 crores. Last time I told you it was 263 crores. And if you look at the program value, it is around 1654 crores. And last time I told you it was 1496. So we have got orders from, and these are all repeat customers except one which is North Ramsey. That's a new customer that we picked up. And
my last question is, if you can...
let me also add here that this also includes customers in our subsidiaries. One is RICO Fluidtronics. There we got orders from Maruti for the oil pumps and water pumps. And from RICO Gen 5, we got the orders from Hero motorcycles for the wheels, for which we have been struggling to get those orders for all of us, I think over 6 to 7 years. And but now we are struggling to beat that demand. That is the situation in the Gen 5 wheels, RICO Gen 5.
Okay. My last question is if you can tell us the debt at the end of the last quarter.
Adi. Rakesh, he'll take this question.
Yes. The total debt that we have at consolidated level is 469 crores as of 30th September. And debt equity comes to less than 0.8. So like we used to tell you earlier also that we'll keep it within 1x. So that is being maintained.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Reminder to the participants, anyone who wishes to ask a question may press star and 1 on the touchtone telephone. Ladies and gentlemen, to ask a question, you may press star and 1. The next question is from the line of Sandeep Verma from Axis Bank. Please go ahead.
Hello. Hello.
Yes,
Good
please
afternoon,
go
sir.
ahead, sir.
Yeah. Sir, just wanted to understand, since there were quality issues, whether there aren't any quality control team who looks after it and then goods are being shipped?
No, everything is in place, sir. But the mass volumes that we produced, there were some issues of burrs which are very slight, which were normally being accepted earlier, but there was a change of thought at the customer end, and they had few pieces which were there, and it was under 0.2% or something. But like I mentioned, any issue happens, the inspection takes place for total consignments which are lying in stock there, which are in transit. So everything has got to be checked. And we normally have a stock of about a month at our warehouses, but in some cases, of course, we were just hand to mouth. And so all the components had to be inspected at a gate which had to be, which was put up in Germany, so that the customer does not get any wrong material. So we have all the quality gates which are here. We've been supplying similar components or similar components to the same car, to BMW, for almost about 10 years now. Over 10 years, in fact, 12 years now. And we've never had, we did have an issue about 5 years back, 6 years back, on one iron component. But thereafter, there's never been a problem with our customers. But this was unfortunate. Everything just got into one bucket, and we got stuck as far as the new labor is concerned, the training of the people there, and then some slippages that took place at our end. And so all that. It was a mix of a lot of things that happened. And that's the reason the customer is also accepting it, and he is compensating us to some extent.
All right, sir. And with respect to the cost which has been incurred because of these products, whether the entire cost has been considered in P&L, sir?
Yeah, we considered the entire cost. Now, whatever we get compensated, that will add to our bottom line. Okay,
so that will be right back of the expenses which has been incurred.
Yeah. So we because since there was no commitment, we obviously could not reduce the amount.
Mm-hmm. So are you expecting this to happen in current financial year itself, or it will spill over to next financial year?
Like I said, that we got some news therefore yesterday. They have covered up part of it, and we are still negotiating them for more. So it's an ongoing exercise, and we certainly would get it before the end of the year.
All right. And
they would also like to close it till the end by the end of the year.
Okay. So the adjustment will be done. So whether you will be getting back the money, or like the adjustment will be done in the transaction, whatever. I mean,
it is both ways. In some cases, we get a clean. We raise a bill and we give them the proof of the air freight, and they compensate that to us. In some cases, they adjust it in the price of the part. So both things happen.
Sir, one final question: what is the kind of feeler that you are getting from the European market, sir? Because in some of the European markets are facing this second wave of COVID. So any feeler that you have received from your OEM partners in Europe?
No, you know something. When we heard, I wish Europeans all the best, and we want that everybody should remain healthy there, and the country should flourish. When this third wave of COVID came there, we thought our air freight come ho jayenge, so we'll make more shipment by sea and we'll save on our air freight. But what we find is that all the factories are working and they're actually picking up more.
Okay. So ideally, so are there any closure of plant? Because in UK there was complete lockdown for 3 days. So any such experience which has happened in Germany where you are supplying?
When they said they're closing the lockdown, they've left the colleges, schools, and factories open. And that's what they've done. But UK is not a big customer of ours in any case. Our main customers are in France and in Germany. Not that in France they don't have a closure. They have a closure, but the factories are all working.
Mm-hmm. And how do you see
why? I'll tell you the reason why the demand is still there. The companies in Europe are required to the CAFE norms. There is a certain amount of the whole company-wide, what is the total pollutants that they leave in the market and in the air and the vehicles. So we are supplying to PSA a lot of parts for the electric vehicles and even for BMW electric vehicles. Since the subsidies are so high and they've got to meet the CAFE norms, if they don't meet the CAFE norms, there are very, very heavy penalties on the OEMs. So that's the reason that they are still continue. The total pressure is on producing the electric vehicles so that they can sell more in the market.
All right. Sir, one final question. Sir, you have been supplying to Kia Motors and to the Hyundai Group. So how is the current sales to Kia or the Hyundai Group? How is the monthly sales going right now, sir? Any monthly run rate? Because Kia and Hyundai has been doing pretty well.
Yeah. Hyundai, we are not suppliers, direct suppliers to Hyundai, but we are major suppliers to Kia, and I'll request Sandeep to give an answer on that.
So Kia, currently, as you know, they are doing more than 20,000 vehicles, and we supply critical parts to them. So we are also supplying the 20,000 sets of the critical parts, and it is all the models that they are doing for their engines. So we supply the key cylinder block. So for the 1.2 liter, 1.2 turbo, and also 1.5 liter. So we are single source now, and all their imports which we did last year is over. So they just properly localized for here in India, and we are the single source. So we are doing over 20,000 cylinder blocks now on a monthly basis, and this is going to further increase to close to 25 to 30,000 in the next 1 or 2 months. So it's going very bullish.
Okay. In value terms, can you just tell me like how much it will translate in value terms?
Value terms, it will be over 10 crores monthly basis.
All right. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you.
Total कितना था साल का? See, last year was about 20-25 crores for the year, and this year we should be crossing around 100 crores with Kia.
All right, sir. All right. Thank you so much, sir.
Jyotivardhan Jaipur, your line is unmuted. Please go ahead with your question.
Yeah, thanks. I have 2-3 questions. So let me start with the pure numbers one. So this quarter you said excluding this air freight and the poor quality, you did a 12% EBITDA margin. So which means roughly you did 48 crores, I guess, on a 400 crore sales. And these were 20 crore costs. So, we should have done a 28 crores EBITDA, right? We reported 22.5, 22.6. So were there some other costs also which we are missing out?
No, basically, EBITDA, the difference is because of these freight and COPQ cost. Other costs are within the reasonable percentages.
There could be, okay, let me add one more point here. Because of COVID, we've actually been, because of the fluctuation of labor, number one. Number two, also quarantining people whenever there was a case of COVID in any of the plants. So we needed to quarantine at least about the people they got in touch with. The range was between 10 persons to about almost 40% we had to quarantine. And so we actually hired a little more people. Even today we have hired about, I think, almost about 12 to 14% extra workforce we have, primarily to take care of this fluctuation that is taking place because of the quarantining, which is compulsory by the state government, and we need to do it, otherwise they come and shut your plant. We don't want the plants to shut down. So that is also an extra cost, the labor cost, which is we are incurring, which we are hoping that by December on we should start reducing on that manpower.
Okay, so when you talk about 12% EBITDA margin which you achieved, it was excluding these costs also.
So then it will be higher.
Yeah, it is. Our EBITDA without considering air freight and COPQ comes to around 11.5%. Others is this whatever small amount of increase is there in case of like sir explained regarding the casual labor and all.
Oh,
there would be some expense. The power cost went up slightly, so that sort of thing is also there. And so those are very slight though. And you will soon we will be touching a figure. One of the quarters will cross 12.5%.
By quarter 4 we should be able.
Yeah, we should be in that.
Yeah, I mean, that was the second point I was making, that over the last few quarters we've like heard this air freight as, one-off, but it seems to be more like a recurring extraordinary cost. So maybe we should start thinking of our margins, including some part of the air freight at least, will recur every quarter. Something or the other will keep happening and it will recur. Because otherwise what happens is, like, from the market point of view, it's like these guys are talking at 12.5% and they end up with 5.5% EBITDA margin. Then they're always disappointing permanently.
Yeah,
so the stock is derated accordingly.
Yeah.
So maybe you build in some of that and like you do your guidance also accordingly that, let's assume as we are taking in some air freight costs every quarter and saying our EBITDA margin will be 10 and at least, we achieve that 10. So it doesn't, because I guess every quarter if we come and say 12, but we showed in the end 6%, then from a market point of view, it just gets, very disappointing.
What you think is correct, and to be honest with you, whenever we plan our capacities, we plan about 10 to 50% higher than whatever is the requirement of the customer. So we normally plan that. But anyway, last 5-6 months have been exceptional, and I don't think those can be correlated to normal workings which are there. And we are determined to get out of this, and we do see the change in the month of, and this is one particular plant, Bawal. All the other plants are not in this category. We are exporting from other plants as well, but it's only the Bawal plant which got stuck into this complexity.
Yeah.
And last year also it was a Bawal plant, by the way. It's the same plant which is, and what you're saying is correct. We normally we are fairly confident that the air freights and COPQ won't take place, but this has unfortunately happened and it's stretched for almost a year, which we are not very happy about.
Yeah, that was the reason I was saying, because it's like quarter after quarter we have the same discussion. So
yeah.
In the earnings call also nothing else gets discussed because we are so focused on this. And the reason we have it is like the EBITDA normally is half of what you were saying it will come, or half of what everybody assumes that it will come, because everybody builds at 12% EBITDA and we go to 6%, and then we are discussing. Okay, anyway, so the next question I had was, so like we are looking at sales probably of 800 crores in the second half. Is that right?
Yeah.
Sales 800 crores.
Yeah.
That's 800 we are talking.
The second half, yes.
Okay, because like if you're saying that the CV is looking like recovering, and like you just mentioned to the previous question that Kia Motors, we are expecting a big jump and all. So shouldn't we be looking at higher sales? Because we already had 400 in September. So what we are talking of is like another 400 and 400 in the next 2 quarters.
Please remember one thing, that there are less working days in the month of November because of Diwali and because of the holidays that are there. So, so that is one. Then month of December, most of the plants, they go for 1 week to 2 weeks shutdown.
Okay.
Like all the OEMs here, then Europe is on holiday. So US is also on holiday. But let me tell you, this is there are consignment sales which will keep on happening. We'll keep on shipping the material, but we will only be able to take the value of it once it's been billed to the customer. We will ship it from here, but till the customer gets it, we don't account for it. And there would be almost about 50 to 80 crores of such business which will not get factored in, or even close to 100 crores which will not get factored in.
Okay. But that must be ongoing, right? Every quarter it must be happening, right?
It's ongoing, but the exports are going up, and so there'll be more sales there. And we are also trying to cover up for whatever shortage of material that was there in our warehouses. We are trying to push those materials as well.
So now that, like I guess 2 quarters are done, so we are looking at 1,400 crore sales for the year. And what is the sort of margin we are aiming at now? Are we looking at like 3-4%, 5% for the full year? Or?
We are determined to get rid of the losses that we made because of the air freights, and whatever we get from the customer, that will be an add-on to our bottom line. And we will be in the black. We will definitely be positive by the end of the year. And because the first quarter was a washout in any case, and the second quarter, first quarter was washout mainly because of production. There was no production. Second quarter, we faltered in the air freights and COPQ. But now onwards, we hopefully we'll do better, and we'll be on the positive side, definitely.
Okay. Okay, thanks a lot. Yeah.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Riddhi Pandya from KR Choksey. Please go ahead.
Hello?
I'm sorry, but your voice is breaking. Can you please check?
Hello?
Yes?
Yes, am I on?
It is breaking, ma'am.
Can you dial it again?
Hello?
Yes?
Am I audible now?
Yes, now you are.
Okay. Sir, I just wanted to understand the overall performance in this financial year. What can we expect from here? Because when you say that now currently the demand is rising, but after the festive season we are not that sure enough as of now. Also, the freight charges, do they come down in next 2 quarters? And the gap which has come in the Q1, obviously due to COVID, and currently also if we see, even though the top line has been increased, but due to freight charges and other costs incurred, what is the overall performance or any kind of number which you can give to be expected in this financial year?
See, despite all the issues we've had in the first quarter as well as the second quarter, we will be definitely crossing the EBITDA of last year, and we should be 8% plus or 9% plus by the end of the year.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Manish Malpani from HDFC Bank. Please go ahead.
Good evening, everyone. What I wanted to understand is that in the COVID scenario, while most of the companies have eventually become leaner and fitter, the scenario that I see, while the top line has regained or in fact done better than the quarter of the previous year, the bottom line still continues to be struggling. So while the other expenses line item, which is due to freight or airlift of material or the rejections, that is one aspect to it, but I feel that the other line items with respect to expenses still continue to hover in the same range itself, be it the employee cost or the finance cost, which has in fact increased from the quarter of the previous year. So what are the actions or probably some of the measures that the company would have taken or is planning to take in terms of reducing some of these costs or the expense line items?
See, the manpower cost, at the moment we are overstaffed in Bawal. Bawal and in there are two plants where we overstaffed. One is Bawal and one is in RICO Jinpai. Because of we have to almost double the productions in both the plants. And in the Bawal plant, the quality gates, we've got 2,233 gates which have been put up, which will be reduced to one hopefully by end of December. And so those costs will also come down. So those are the costs which we are incurring at the moment. And Bawal otherwise is a very profitable plant. Earlier, I remember 3 years back, our profitability EBITDA in the individual Bawal plant was all 20% plus. And we've lost it in the last 1.5 years. But we are determined to get out of it now. And in Jinpai, the volume from making about 130,000 wheels a month and doubling to straight to 260 to 300,000 wheels a month, and then going up further, that push, getting an extra people, training them, putting them on the job, putting them on the casting jobs. So that is a challenge, and the extra people because of the peak that we are running in most of all the plants, and to meet the demand of our customers. And so we've actually got extra people to replace people in case they are quarantined, etc. So all that is happening, and hopefully by December there would be a stability as far as the contracted people are concerned, because there was a lot of change of people that was happening place also. So that is one we need to, which is in our radar, and we are monitoring it on a daily basis, and we want to go back to the. In fact, we had. In our budget, we had actually reduced the labor cost for the current year, but I think everything went upside down. But we are still determined to out of that. In the finance cost,
yeah, Manish, as far as finance cost is concerned, this increase of around 3 crores, that includes 1.5 crore on account of hedge accounting and NTM. So it is notional cost that has been booked. And working capital utilization has been on the all-time high. It is around 40 to 45 crores more because of this COVID situation. But this will come down in the coming quarters. But quarter 2 was especially the working capital utilization was on a higher side. Then term loan, we took first moratorium. We did not go for the second moratorium, but first moratorium was taken. So there was additional cost of that also.
Another thing that I wanted to understand is with respect to one that you mentioned that the Q3 could be slightly challenging, one because of limited days of working with respect to Diwali and December being a shutdown for many OEMs. So do you see a challenge with in the coming quarter, one, or the current quarter? And point number 2 is with respect to CapEx. What is the kind of CapEx that the company foresees itself to do in the next 12 months, considering that free cash flow generation for the company is also going to be critical at a heavy base of fixed asset?
So the CapEx, we've done most of the CapEx already, and we would stay around the depreciation that we have. The board has cleared only up to the depreciation. They don't let us go beyond that. And so that is one ceiling that they have imposed on us. And but the volume that you see going up in Kia Motors and from 20 crores going up to 120, 110 crores or so, those investments have already been done. And so whatever investment we did last year and also beginning of this year, those have started coming to production now. We made investments last year where in some cases in Bawal, the productions are going to come by the end of next year. So most of the investments are in place because the customers come and check your lines and check your productions and productivity and quality, etc. Almost 8 months to 1 year in advance.
Okay.
So those investments are in place. And if you look at Hero, there also we made the investments. But fortunately at Hero, the investments, they start churning out turnovers within 2 to 3 months of the investment. That is, except in the case of Clutch, where we invested 2 years in advance. That is the R&D, etc. But that was a complete system, new system that our people developed, and which is doing very successfully. Our turnover in the Clutch used to be just about 50 crores a year, and this year I think for the Clutch alone we'll be crossing 130 crores, and our target is to go to 200 crores in the Clutch. And so there the investments have already taken place, and so not much investments are required.
So with the existing setup, what kind of monthly run rate in terms of sales do you feel can the company easily do?
We can go up to almost 200 crores.
Okay.
In the month of October, we did touch 170.
170. Okay.
Yeah, and we, halaki, our Chennai plant did not run to full capacity. We were short by almost about 12 crores, primarily because of the exports of Renault. Their market is down as far as the exports are concerned. And PSA, for some strange reason, didn't pick up too much. But the PSA in India, they have a plant at Hosur, and they assemble gearboxes for export purposes. They had some issues with some other component and some assemblies, so they never picked up. But now I think they've started picking up the material full scale again. So that would also jack it up, and we were short by I think 12 crores or something in our plant in there. So we would have actually crossed 180, 185 crores this month. October, sorry.
And for reaching to a scale of 200 crores, will the line items like employee benefits or some of the other expenses have to be also increased in the equivalent proportion?
No, we'll be saving on the employees, because at the moment we are overemployed, primarily for the quarantining, the COVID cases happening in plants and the quarantining that happened. So we are in that stage at the moment. But we also have people who are in place for the volumes when they go up. Like in Chennai, our people are in place, and we can actually do almost about 30 crores a month there. And we are at the moment at about 16, 17, 18. We are at about 18 at the moment, and the manpower is in place. Engineers are in place. The supervision is there. Everything is in place, and so we are at that stage. And hopefully Renault also picks up in the exports, or we're going to divert that capacity to some other customer in India.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Vaibhav Sanghi, an individual investor. Please go ahead.
Sir, could you give me an idea about the labor situation now? Is it everything fine? Like all the labor problems are solved, or you still have new labor who are still not trained properly and they need more time?
As far as the labor situation, there's no labor issues as such. When I say labor issues, there are no labor fights at all. The problem was with the new labor as well as our old people coming.
No, I understood. I'm talking about the same problem, the new labor as well as, the attrition, where people move in and out, right? That's the problem, right? So how are these?
It has reduced drastically, because for the last 3 months, it was really very high. And in fact, people would come and work for a week and then walk out on you. And so all the training that you spent, 10 or 15 days of training that you put in, that all went waste. Anyway, but that is part of we had no choice at that time. But now it's getting more stable, and so we've also started, instead of having 20% extra people, now we are bringing it down to about 10%, 12%, 10%, 12%, and also bringing it down further. So we have started looking at those possibilities as well. Labor is on our radar, and that is monitored on a weekly basis.
And on the quality side, sir, what is the tolerance level? Like you will have some kind of a tolerance agreed with the customer, right?
Yeah. Everything is as per the drawing of the customer, and we produce as per the customer drawing. We've been doing it for last 30 or 40 years. For BMW, about 12 years. 2008 we started, no? 10th we started. 8 we got the orders, and 2010 onwards we've been supplying to them, and we've never had issues with them. And this is unfortunate that this hit us very hard.
Yes, sir. Lastly, I'll just repeat one thing which I think one of the gentlemen said in earlier in the call. So we've been invested almost for the last 2-3 years, and if you look at since December, after December 2018, there hasn't been a single quarter where we have made operating margin 10% or more. Every quarter our operating margin has been less than 10%. But we keep saying 12% and above. So I think we really need to be realistic in our guidance, because otherwise market will never reward, right? They will never understand, because every time we disappoint the market. So I think we need to be realistic in our guidance. That's our request.
Certainly, we'll do that, and hopefully we will not disappoint the market after this, and we will be out of the situation, and we will go as per the guidance that we give.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Aditi Agrawal from Kotak Mahindra Bank. Please go ahead.
Good evening, sir. So one thing I wanted to ask you mentioned that our share for the existing customers have increased. So could you please suggest as in which all customers, and have we got new parts, or how has our share increased and by how much?
Well, the two top customers are, one is of course Hero, and one is Maruti. Then Toyota, we got many new parts, and for the future programs, and for BMW also the business has gone up, and the Maruti again directly in RICO as well as in RICO Fluidtronics, which is our subsidiary. There also we've got substantial business, and in RICO Jinfy, in the wheel business, we got a lot of business from Hero. So RICO Jinfy, which is the wheel plant, and RICO Fluidtronics, we've got business from Maruti and Hero mainly, and RICO we got from Toyota, BMW, and the new customer is Nor Bremse. This is exports, and otherwise Greaves, the business is okay, and Cummins, we got new business for export also. And Volkswagen, then Daimler, we got business. These are some of the customers, yeah. Kia of course is going up dramatically.
Okay, so by new business, Erwin, we mean we have got new parts for the new models, or?
There are 2-3 things. One is like Hero has 2 sources of supply, minimum 2 sources of supply. And Maruti also by and large has 2 sources of supply. And the share of business is normally decided when they allot the business to us. And earlier we were at that 50-50 bracket, and now most of the parts we are touching 60%, 70% of the total requirement of the customer. So one is the share of business has gone up. Then besides that, we've also got new components from Maruti. And the same thing applies to Hero. Hero, our share of business and individual item has gone up, and also we've added new components from Hero. So it's a mix of both that happens. Like Fluidtronics, in RICO Fluidtronics, we've got new business for Maruti oil pump and water pumps, which is to the tune of about 60 to 70 crores a year in that particular plant, and which starts next year and onwards. And Jinfy is almost it's about 40 to 50 crores a year, and in the Jinfy RICO Jinfy plant, that is the wheel plant, and that would go up even further, and now it depends on the capacity that we create there.
Okay. So would we be requiring to do capex for these new orders, and if yes, how much?
See, as far as the Hero is concerned, the wheel business is concerned, we made investment 2 years back. And for 2 years, we've been talking to them for the last 7-8 years. But 2 years back, they had assured us of giving us the business, but the process was so slow, and there was no pressure on them to localize from the wheels which are coming from China. But now, from last year onwards, because of the pressure, all of a sudden, But fortunately, our investments had already been made in the furnaces as well as. So there would be some minor investment in that particular plant, but by and large already made. And for RICO Fluidtronics, for the plant which for the production which comes up next year end, there would be some investments that would be required to be made in that particular plant. And Norbrands, I think most of the equipment from inside. And Toyota, there would be investment that will come, but then the program starts in 2022. So the investment will start coming in next year onwards.
Okay. So current fiscal, how much of capex can we assume?
Normally, our board lets us invest up to our
depreciation amount.
Yeah, depreciation amount.
Okay, so we'll be doing around that much only.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And how much would be our repayment? Like I understand that moratorium, the first tranche was taken. So what is the post-moratorium repayment for this fiscal?
Repayments? Moratorium?
Long-term, repayment of the long-term loan.
नहीं पहले क्वेश्चन पूछो क्या यार, I'm not clear.
You want to ask that in H2, how much repayments are due?
Yes, sir. So, all sorts of repayment have been done for the term loans during H1. So, how much more is due for the second? Like for H2, how much of repayment can we expect for the term loans?
It's around 25.
Around 5 crores.
Yeah.
Okay. And so I believe like approximately around 70-80 crores of sales are there from the subsidiary of the joint venture entities, like consol minus standalone if I look at. However, if I simply do consol minus standalone, the raw material expense appears to be negative. So is there something that I'm missing here? If you could help me.
Can you repeat the question?
Yeah, it's not very clear what you are asking. Can you please repeat?
Yes, I'm repeating.
It's not very clear.
Yeah, I'll just repeat. So for H1 consolidated sales around 541 crores as against standalone sales of 470. So I understand the sales from the subsidiaries would be approximately 70 crores.
Yeah.
Similarly, if you talk about the raw material expense, so combined including the expense for due to inventory increase and decrease, the total raw material is around 288 crores for consolidated and 292 crores for standalone. So I wanted to understand how is like raw material expense lower in consolidated vis-a-vis the standalone for H1.
See, normal is that whatever one supplies to others, that gets eliminated. But it is less than that, we'll come back to you on that. Let us verify that and then we'll come back to you.
Sure. Okay.
What is it? Why is that?
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, to ask a question, you may press star and 1. The next question is from the line of Jigar Shroff from Financial Research. Please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you for taking my question. I think I could have missed. Did you mention, the cost that we incurred regarding higher air freight and poor quality products that we supplied? Would it continue in Q3 also?
Partly in Q3.
Would you like to quantify?
Yes, it's about around 13. This will be the total expense, but what we get back from the customer, that we have not factored in.
Yeah, that you said you expect about 50% of the...
Our target is always to get at least 50%.
So around 13 crores may come in Q3.
13, 1-3, yeah.
1-3, okay. And would you, thank you, and would you like to talk anything about the aerospace and defense business? Would you like to share anything? Any new developments on that?
Yeah. On the defense business, we've been on this for almost 5-7 years now, and we've been filling up tenders, and the government, of course, keeps on talking of Atma Vishwas, Atma Nirbhar, but we keep on questioning them that there's got to be Atma Vishwas to place the orders. Now, some of the tenders we had filled in, those are close to about 10,000 crores. That's for the life of the program. It's about 1,000 crores a year. And in those tenders, after 3 years, they have cancelled the tenders and they've gone back to the old basic and they want to restart again. And now there are two of them which are lying pending. And that hopefully in the next 3 to 4 months, there should be some decision making after 3 to 4 years of the files moving from one side to the other side. But it's very slow. And we are just showing up patience and we keep on just monitoring as to what has happened, but that's all we can do. And all the other companies also who applied on the tender, we have met, we have discussed, and we have spoken to the minister as well. And they keep on assuring us that they would place the orders, and now, more so now than before, because there is a focus on the defense. Now we are only hoping that they stick to the timelines now, even though it's delayed by 4 years. So then let me tell you, the progress is very, very slow in the defense side.
Okay. Understood. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. As there are no further questions, I would now like to hand the conference over to the management for closing comments.
Well, thank you so much, and sorry we disappointed you all and did not stick to whatever we had promised, and we faltered as far as the air freight and COPQ was concerned. And we are the company as well as the board is on it absolutely, and we have had major discussions and some major changes that have also been brought about so that this sort of thing doesn't get repeated again. And we should be out of this situation. Now we can see the light at the end of the tunnel, so that's the reason we are confident of. We could tell you even the figures of air freight for this month, for October and November, and there's a process of getting out of it. So we are in that process of getting out. For the COPQ, we've got to the gates will start coming down after almost a month and a half of no complaints from the customer side. So we are in that cycle at the moment, and we should be out of it hopefully majorly in November, and there could be some spill-offs in December. So we hope to do better. The items we have are probably the most intricate items that are given to any customer in India. The dependence of the customer is also very heavy on us, and we do not let them down, but this time it was at a very expensive cost, which we are not very happy about. And the margins on those components are very good, provided they go in normal shipment mode and not on the air freight mode. We should get out of them, but all the other plants are fortunately doing pretty well. The sales are also going up. The costs are on the high side, which from November, December onwards, I think we should start cutting down those costs as well. That is the labor cost, etc. Thank you so much, and we hope to give you more accurate and better guidance in the future, and also give you better results. Thank you.
Thank you. On behalf of Essential Technologies...
And happy Diwali to everyone, and let's hope, and please keep safe because of this COVID season that we have, and don't take risks. Please remain out. Please don't go out of the house. Remain inside the house and be safe.
Thank you. On behalf of Essential Technologies Limited, that concludes this conference. Thank you for joining us, and you may now disconnect your lines.